I met Ashley at Molly's Displays in New York. I right away fell in love with her and asked her to be my girlfriend. She said yes, but as you know, a other birdie came along, and we broke up. When she dating Mitch, I told her I had to approve. They took me to lunch at Bar Taco, and I met Mitch, and we became buddies. He's perfect with her. Wait, raise your glasses up, please. Raise them up. Mitch and Ashley, congratulations and best wishes, and very long and happy life together. Cheers, mate. I love you. That was for you and my dead buddy.
Okay, everyone, I'd just like to propose a toast to the lovely new couple, Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell and Ashley Kidd, to the new bride and groom. Cheers.
Ashley learned quickly from Gramps all that she wanted in her future relationship and her future partner. I can say confidently, standing up here tonight, that Ashley and Mitch may share that same spark, that same confident love, that same excitement for life that Gramps hoped she would find. With that, I ask that you all join me in welcoming Ashley's first true love. Come on up, Gramps.
I'm Gramps. For those of you who don't, well, you know me now. I'm Randy. I was at the hospital the day that Ashley was brought into this world, and I've watched her grow from a newborn baby to the beautiful woman she is today. There have been many exciting milestones in Ashley's life, from her first days out of the hospital to the glorious news of her engagement to Mitch. Ashley has continued to strive for greatness, which is evident in the person whom she has chosen to spend the rest of her life with. Some of the most memorable moments in Ashley's life, and there were many, started with her watching The Little Mermaid 10 times a day. Then there was the time when, in a crowded school courtyard, Ashley yelled out, "You're not my mother," when Melissa came to pick her up from school that day. I'd try explaining that to the school staff and other parents. Whenever Ashley and her sisters Lexi and Avery would spend the night at our house, we would read a short story called Old Man of the Sea. The girls loved that story, and I think that Ashley had that story memorized. And one cannot forget the time that Ashley invited me to go to a high school football game. The only problem was that when we arrived at the stadium and purchased the tickets, Ashley told me that I had to go over and sit with the parents. She was going to go sit in the student body section. She did come by and visit with me just before halftime. She needed money for snacks. There was an instance where Ashley wrote a story about me being in World War II. I was born 12 years after World War II ended. Still trying to figure that one out. And it should be noted that Ashley won an award for her story. Nice job. Now, Mitch, I have a confession to make. Even though Graham and I love our country and our flag, we never go out onto the deck and say the Pledge of Allegiance. The story behind that is Ashley set something up where Grandma and I and Ashley and Mitch would go out and put our hands on our heart and say the Pledge of Allegiance in front of the flag. And Mitch thought that was a common occurrence. And it is not. So that was all Ashley's idea. Grandma helped her. And then there was the truck that Mitch took a liking to. When Ashley and Mitch come to visit, it's Mitch's truck. It was Mitch's idea to have an Australian and an American flag flying on the back and a set of steer horns secured to the hood. It's quite a setup, and I'm sure you've all seen it driving around. On a different note, I did want to say that there were many very special moments with Mitch and Ashley, whether it was sitting around the campfire at Coeur d'Alene Lake or spending Christmas week with them. Mitch took the time to purchase a Christmas tree, Christmas lights, and ornaments, and he set them all up by himself. Those are the memories that Graham and I will never forget, and they were so special for everybody there. Thanks, Mitch. To me, one of the most amazing things about this union with Mitch and Ashley was the day that Mitch asked me for Ashley's hand in marriage. Mitch had planned on discussing this with me the day before, but things simply did not work out. The next morning, Mitch had gone out for an early morning walk. He called me and asked if I wanted to meet him at a nearby coffee house. At first, I told him that I could make coffee at the place that we were staying, but after I hung up, after I hung up, I thought it would be nice to meet with him and so I gave him a call back. As the two of us were walking to the coffee house, Mitch said, among some other very nice things, that he always wanted to do the honorable and respectful thing before he asked Ashley's hand in marriage, and that he came to us and asked for our blessings. To me, this showed an amazing level of respect and unquestionable character. Sorry. I told Mitch that it would be an honor to have him as part of our family, and I knew that Grandma felt the same way. Grandma and I were so proud and excited about Mitch and Ashley getting married. It was an incredible morning. Finally, I would like to say how happy Grandma and I are to have such an incredible grandsons-in-law. Parents and grandparents always wonder who each child or grandchild will choose as their spouse. Grandma and I could not be any happier or proud for the husbands that our two oldest granddaughters have chosen to spend the rest of their lives with, Mitch and Bryce. Thank you, Bryce, and certainly Mitch. For your love, support, and encouragement to them. You two are very special to Grandma and me, and to Mitch's parents, Reg and Carrie. You helped Mitch be who and what he is today, and we thank you. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Randall. Moving forward in the proceedings, I would now like to welcome one of Ashley's closest friends to the stand. Nadine is the older sister Ashley never had. A sounding board for advice and a person she could always count on for a laugh and a glass of wine. All three. Nads has been an integral part of Ashley's life in New York, work colleagues, roommates, and most of all, best friends. These two share a bond that cannot be reckoned with. Please join me welcoming Nadine to the stand.
Hi, everyone. For anyone I haven't met yet, I'm Nadine. I'm one of Ashley's best friends, which means I'm also one of Mitch's worst nightmares, especially at 4 o'clock in the morning whenever Ashley and I decide to form a Celine Dion tribute band. Ashley and I first became friends about 6 years ago when we started working together in a bar in Mamaroneck. Not too long after meeting, we became roommates, and a few nights out in the neighbourhood, a few questionable relationships. That was it, we were best friends. Some might even say troublemakers. Living far away from home can be hard. You miss out on a lot of holidays and family events. Having each other as roommates and friends helped us get through some of the tough days and the times when you just want to be at home with your family. We celebrated the holidays together, we made them happy occasions, and created our own kind of family. Ashley made my life here a lot better and a lot more fun. And then Mitch came along. He immediately charmed her with his Australian accent and cheeky smile. He told her of his plans to rebuild New York one skyscraper at a time. And then he whisked her off on the 4 train through the Bronx and into the bright lights of New York City. But he never left me behind. He welcomed me into his life as Ashley's best friend, and he recognized how important our friendship was to each other. He always made sure to involve me and bring me along on nights out as his other woman. He never complains about our terrible singing or irrational need for tacos at 3 a.m. and has even got out of his bed on occasion so Ashley and I could sleep off one too many cocktails. Mitch loves Ashley with his whole heart. He supports her dreams and he believes in them. He always encourages her. He wants her to be her best self. They motivate each other and build each other up every day. They're perfect teammates. We've all shared lots of laughter, a few tears, fun vacations together. We've had birthday trips, met each other's family, had many of the unexpected adventures in the wee hours in New York City, and now we're here starting your new chapter. My friendship with you two has been a blast so far, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of it. Now, what's any speech from a redhead without a good old Irish blessing? Raise your glasses, please. Ashley and Mitch, may your troubles be less, may your blessings be more, and may nothing but happiness come through your door.
I would now like to introduce one of Mitch's oldest friends, Dane Morrison. Dane and Mitch met on New Year's Eve in 2000, when Dane was about to embark on a one-handed boxing match. One hand in a glove, one hand tied behind his back. Mitch remembers looking at the middle of the room wondering what screws were loose in this guy's head. Naturally, it didn't take long for these two to hit it off and quickly became friends. They've spent plenty of time visiting each other in Australia and the US and lots of travel in between. Mitch says, luckily, since the addition of Dane's kids, the hangouts have tapered back a little bit, thankfully. But truly, it's friendships like this that build a man's character, and I know Mitch attests much of that to friends like Dane. So please join me in welcoming this great man to the stand, Dane Morrison.
Thanks, Scott. A lot kinder than he could have been, and Greta appreciates it. The kid. So much material. This is a 21st speech, right? It's all right, Ash, I'll be kind. I actually know exactly what to say. I got off the phone with Mitch when he asked me to speak, and I looked at Greta and I said, Mitch just asked me to speak. Before I could even get the words out, she said, you need to say this, you need to say this, and you can't say this. I simply looked at her and she said, don't talk back at me. Brother, I almost feel like I know what married life's going to be like. As Scotty said, I first met Kid as a 17-year-old. Just a couple of young country kids going down to the Big Smoke to have a bit of a blowout. And yes, we arrived at New Year's party with a couple of fine bottles of Passion Pop under our belt. And as Scott said, I think the movie Fight Club was popular at the time. So we didn't have enough boxing gloves to go around, so we did have one each. My recollection was the other one wasn't tied behind my back, but was holding the Passion Pop bottle. So a couple of 17-year-old kids shit-faced in the big city with boxing gloves on. What could go wrong? And that's where the bromance began. When Kid and I met at uni, I distinctly remember pretty early on in our uni career, we were heading down to footy training in his car. And Mitch decided to unload a bit of his financial wisdom on me. I'm thinking, yeah, he's got a good tax scheme here, or he's got a good uni fee loophole, or we're going to steal for some old people, all that kind of good stuff. Nah. So Morrison, what I do is I hang around the laundry at uni and wait until someone else puts a load of washing on. Sneak in behind them, chuck their clothes out, put my clothes in, $2 every time. We then put up at footy training and he hit me up for some gas money. So this is how K&M formed. Kidd and Morrison Property. What an empire that was. And by the way, for legal purposes, if we owe cash to anyone in the room, we've gone into administration. Now, I'd like to say the years at K&M prepared Mitch for his future life at Wellbuilt and that I taught him everything he knows. But that would be a stretch. Mate, your perseverance and determination to make it in the Big Apple is a credit to you, and the successes that you're enjoying now are well deserved. Another adventure with Mitch and Gav was our trip across India. Again, as Scotty said, we set out with a rickshaw, commonly known as one of the most unreliable vehicles on the planet, to drive across India, commonly known as one of the dangerous places to drive in the world. And we did this without a map. Despite this, and a few misadventures, it was one of the best adventures I've had and one of the funnest trips I've ever been on. Although to this day, I'm still not sure if that elephant that appeared next to us in that alley in Goa was real or a product of the local produce we were consuming. Now, Ash, I've known you for a while. You're an intelligent, sophisticated, beautiful woman. Are you sure this is the best you can do? Though I really enjoyed catching up with you when you can make it back to Australia, and I hope that in time, whenever that is, we can spend a lot more time together back in Oz. You've married a good man, a great friend of mine, and I hope that we do get to spend a lot more time, whether it be here in the States or back in Oz. I wish you two all the best, and I'll just pick up this to make a quick toast. So if everyone can raise their glasses and skull. Here's to Mitch and Ash.
I have no doubt this next single lady will be just as impressive. Yes, gents, that's right. I said single. She's 2 years older than Ash. She was a role model and a mentor. Not to mention, Ash thought she was the coolest girl around town. What really cemented their friendship was when they both decided to move east to pursue their dreams. Over the last 8 years, the two have visited each other countless times in New York and Pennsylvania, and wherever else in between. They have both loved and cherished their time from their country roots, but remain passionate about their love for their hometown. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Jessie.
So I'm one of the token Idaho girls. There's a couple here tonight. So howdy, y'all. Ashley and Mitch, thank you so much for choosing Jackson, Wyoming. This is such a gorgeous place, and I think I can speak on behalf of everybody how beautiful this is and what an exclusive experience this has been. Yes. So, let me introduce myself. My name is Jessie, and I have had the privilege of knowing the bride since middle school. We grew up in the Coeur d'Alene area, North Idaho, for those of you out of town. And it's a place called Rathdrum. It's about 5,000 people. So we are very proud of our Idaho roots, indeed. And no, we did not grow up on potato farms, okay? Rathdrum is a town where you attend school to make the Friday night football games, where swimming in lakes and having bonfires were some of our favorite pastimes, and a place where if our parents didn't know where we were, there was about 5 other parents that knew our whereabouts and would lead them to us. In Idaho, on any given day, a thunderstorm, a rainbow, and some snowfall could happen within an hour. The second we turned 14, we were driving down those dirt roads to our buddy's house. And in Idaho, we tell directions by using landmarks. Yeah, if you just turn right, where the dead tree fell over the pond and Mr. McDougal buried his Labrador retriever, yeah, take a right there. And when you move to a new place, you're always the first person anyone's ever met from Idaho because not many people leave. So when Ashley moved to New York City, she was the talk of our small little town. I mean, it's big time to kiss goodbye those mountains, four-wheel drive, for the skyscrapers and the yellow cab taxis. But Ashley has always been an easygoing, fun-loving, independent girl with big ambitions. As Dolly Parton said, find out who you are and do it on purpose, girl. And Ashley has done just that. So Ashley, you have grown into this kind, intelligent, beautiful woman. Your big heart, your thoughtfulness, your live big attitude for life are some of your amazing qualities. Your forthrightness is one of your greatest gifts and one of my favorite characteristics to you. Your authenticity, support, love, and encouragement truly have shaped you into a beautiful soul, and one of my dearest friends as well. I have been so inspired by you. Meeting all of these wonderful people this week, I have been learning so much about how you have threaded us all together and the impact that you've made on these lives. So, there is a quote that states, "A woman of true beauty offers others the grace to be and the room to become," and you truly are a woman of true beauty. Now on to Mitch. My first impression of Mitch was on the latter half of his first week in Idaho. It was late in the day. They had been day drinking, going on Coeur d'Alene Lake, boating. We all met up at the Moose Lounge. So Ashley introduces me. He turns around on the bar stool, one-eyed open, sunburned, with a thick old slurred accent. And still drinking IPAs. Now, I have to listen intently at breakfast time with his accent. Put a case of Bud Light in that guy, some IPAs, and I need an interpreter. But in his defense, we do serve our drinks generously out in Idaho. So since our first meet and greet, Mitch, Ashley, and I have shared some memories. Garth Brooks' hoedown in the kitchen, jumping in the lake for polar bear plunge, gas station gift Christmas party, what up? And recently, Mitch and Scott flossing in the kitchen, which I highly encourage you all to get them doing it on the dance floor tonight. So I remember Ashley and Mitch telling a time where Mitch gave a speech on Australian vernacular for his work. Well, Mitch, allow me to translate 3 Old West sayings Ashley might tell you in the heat of the moment. The first one: he was mad enough to swallow a horned toad backwards. Translation: Mitch is mad. The second one: his intelligence sure ain't at this camp. Translation: he's being crazy. And the third one: he's as welcome as a rattlesnake on a dance floor. Translation: just say sorry. So Ashley, you look stunning tonight. I'm so happy for you and love you to the moon and back. Mitch, congratulations and a wonderful job on stealing one of the most beautiful hearts, my dear friend Ashley. Congratulations to you too.
Dave, or known to most as Swaney, grew up in Orange with Mitch. As luck would have it, their history begins way before either of them entered this world. What brought Swaney and Mitch together wasn't school or girls or sports, but their parents, who grew up in Orange together. Their parents today remain close with constant golf outings, watching local rugby games, assisting one another in business endeavours, and of course some long lunches and some good old orange wine. Mitch and Swaney have become more and more alike with their common interests in sports, business, their international families, their appreciation for travel, and their love for their own family. With that, Swaney, come on up and give Mitch a spray that he deserves.
Alrighty, Lumpy, thanks for the introduction. So, what an absolute pleasure it is to be here in Jackson, Wyoming. But how about that ride in? No better way to break the ice on an American vacation than a couple of days in Vegas. I've picked up a couple of classic one-liners that will be with me for life. You boys need some Charlie? Titty time, boys. We got a free limo ready for you to go. Midget show. Don't you fight that fetish. Oh, dear. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dave and I'm one of Mitch's mates from his hometown Orange back in Australia. Last time Mitch was back in Australia, he confronted me with a rather concerned look on his face. He went on to explain that his wedding could be ruined as he struggled to hold back the tears. At this point, he had me extremely worried. Typical human nature to expect the worst, and I remember thinking to myself, don't stuff this up, Mitch. You're punching above your weight as it is. Brian's ready to pounce if you do. So I put one arm around his shoulders and said, talk me through it. Are things not great between you and Ash? He then told me that his good buddy, Paul McCoskey, was unable to attend. He didn't know who was going to speak on his behalf. So here I am trying to fill Paul's shoes. So please take it easy on me. For those of you who don't know Paul, you're lucky. So speaking in front of a crowd is far from a strong point of mine. I spent hours Googling ways to get through it. It is amazing how many times it says to imagine the crowd naked. I thought based on the frequency of this tip, surely it has to work. So I've adopted that approach. With that in mind, I'm sure you all agree that Ash and her bridesmaids look great tonight. You! Mitch, put that thing away. So today we reckon you look a bit like Lane Frost, but hopefully you can ride for 8 seconds like he did. So it's been approximately 10 years since Mitch decided to set himself up in America. He has done a fantastic job of building a company in another country with his good pal, Scott Lumbey. But obviously his biggest accomplishment in the US to date is finding his beautiful wife, Ashley, or Sweetie, as Mitch likes to commonly call her. Even though there is close to 10,000 miles between us, my wife and I have been lucky enough to hang out and party with these two on numerous occasions. There is never a dull moment when you're around the two of them. A year or so ago, we gathered 10 friends together for a week of shenanigans on a 5-star houseboat back in Australia. Luckily for us, Mitch and Ash were able to make the boathouse trip. You learn a lot about a couple in a week while on a houseboat. Apart from Mitch's odd, long-winded stories, they both brought a huge amount of energy to the week. Key learnings from the week. Ashley managed to wear a minimum of 2 different pairs of swimmers per day. Mitch, on the other hand, it is unconfirmed if he even packed a shirt for the whole week. If Mitch has disappeared, don't worry. He is off on a little walk having Mitch time, or he is on his headphones having a long-winded phone conversation, probably reaching out to someone. Mitch also pulled off one of the sweetest backflips I've seen off the top deck of a houseboat, approximately 15 feet up, and the landing in 2 feet deep water was just as impressive. Coco's still got to drop those crutches back to the hospital for you, mate. Mitch's personal progression and development since meeting Ash is close to unbelievable. We're going pretty close to being able to call him one of the boys. So that I don't bore you or embarrass Mitch, I just want to name a few of the life progressions. Mitch can occasionally be sighted outside of work with a shirt on. Mitch is coming on 2 years tanning lotion free. The frequency of Mitch's haircuts has gone from fortnightly to once every 3 weeks. Facebook's selfie photos are now down to 1 in every 5 photo posts. And Mitch is not as much as a tight ass as he used to be. So for this, Ashley, we truly thank you. We know you have a fair task on your hands and there are some big ticket items that you probably won't crack. But the progress to date has been remarkable. Speaking of being a tight ass, I'm not sure if many of you are aware, but Mitch used to write a column in his university newsletter called Mitch's Tight Ass Tips. This is where he developed a lot of his entrepreneur skills. Such tips as, and Dane stole some material, we should have colluded, but fellow colleagues waiting for someone to pay for their washing and a machine, and then once they leave, Mitch removing their clothes and putting his free wash on. So since just like Jesse stole my Mr. McDougall story, since I've known these two as a couple, they have proven to me time and time again that they are always the life of the party and they complement each other so well. It is clear that the love they share is extremely strong. It is that infectious bond that has managed to get us all here together today. And I look forward to a lifetime of good times with this pair. I wish you both the happiest of lives together. So let's follow the example they set tonight and party hard. Shooting blanks.
Ladies and gents, we are now on to the best part of the evening. We'll now hear from the main attraction, the overjoyed groom and his much better looking half, formerly known as Miss Montana. What's actually funny about tonight is that I had the luxury of meeting Ashley first. Looking back, had I known Ashley's infectious love of life would lead her to pursue a relationship with Mitch over working alongside us in our office, I may have selected differently. I would still have called Mitch and told him that she was the one for the job, however. Ash, I've never seen Mitch so happy, so comfortable, so settled, but most of all so proud when he gets to call you his wife, Mrs. Kidd. Ladies and gents, please join me in welcoming Mrs. Ashley Kidd.
Just a little bit shorter than you. Howdy. First of all, I would really like to thank everyone who is here today. As I'm looking out, I see all of my very favorite people. And to have you all celebrating our love and happiness is just indescribable. Mitch and I are so lucky to not only have you all here today, but also in our lives. I think reminiscing on this week is going to be just as great as it was living it out today. Also, I want to thank a big thank you to my wedding planner, Rachel, wherever she is, for making all this happen today and seamless and great, and thank you so much. Now to my new in-laws, Reg and Carrie Kidd, and also the rest of the kids. Ann and Ben, and my nephews Tom, Harry, and George, and Gav and Candace. The first time I met the Kidd family, Mitch brought me home for what was supposed to be a strictly working trip, as he, Reg, and his oldest brother Ben worked on fixing up a farm they had made a joint venture on. Picture the renovation show, The Block, Outback Edition, with 3 headstrong Kidd men, each assuming they're the lead contractor. Carrie, Ben's wife Ann, and I did our best to help, which on my part was following Mitch's strong recommendation of me just staying out of the way. Grandma, I blame you for always saying I was too pretty for physical labor. Which leads me to Carrie. With the boys busy working, checking, and rechecking each other's work, I was able to spend some quality time with Carrie and really get to know her. Meeting the mother of the youngest boy, who is a self-proclaimed mama's boy, is a very nerve-wracking experience, but I was quickly put at ease with your welcoming nature and open heart. It also helped that we shared 2 common interests, cooking and wine. So thank you, Carrie, for the love you give and for all that you do for everyone, including killing every single spider that my petrified eyes find. Reg, the Honorable Mayor of Orange, or what Mitch refers to as the affluent Hamptons of Australia. Before we met, Mitch had me believing that you would be quizzing me on my Australian history during dinner and expect to hear each and every one of my political views. He's also under the belief that Americans are complete slobs with no table manners and gave me etiquette lessons to correctly use my utensils, followed by a few tests. Well, what a relief it was to arrive and find a warm and loving country home just like I had been raised in. Although, Carrie, you did tell me my knife and fork game needed some work, so thanks for that. I'm still practicing. Reg, instead of quizzing me, you didn't let an instance pass without taking time to teach or share with me something new about your beautiful country. It is hard not to fall in love with Orange with you as its enthusiastic host. And even though you will retire after this term as being the mayor of Orange, I know you will continue to shine in the position you have held for some time now as the mayor of the Parkview. To Mitch's middle brother, Gav. Thank you so much for making the trip all the way from Singapore and as an expectant father. You being here means the world to Mitch and I. And although we miss Candace dearly, we are so thrilled to be welcoming a new niece or nephew into the family very soon. Although Candace is not here, I have to give her a small shout out, as she has been so helpful with my hundreds of wedding questions over the past couple months, and even lent me the beautiful veil that I wore today. It also cannot go without being said that now 2 of the kid men have married women with the nickname of the Hurricane, which I think goes to show that even though the kid boys like their order, regimen, and spreadsheets, they also like to let loose and take a walk on the wild side. To Mitch's oldest brother, Ben, Anne, and my 3 nephews. We are just so excited that our wedding gave you an excuse to bring the boys to the country we call home. It has been so great to be able to witness the boys get their first American experience, and it falling on Harry and George's birthday is an extra treat. You have given us such a great example of a family, and we really look up to the both of you. Our times on your farm in Dubbo are some of my favorite in Australia. So thank you to all the kids for being here. It's an honor to become part of your family today. You raised the man of my dreams, which says an awful lot about all of you. Now to my family. Grandpa. Your singing today was absolutely beautiful, and I don't think there was a dry eye in the place. I really couldn't have pictured a better way to walk down the aisle to start this new chapter in my life. Grandma. Ever since I was a little girl, you would tell me that you prayed to Jesus that he would find me a kind and loving man. Even though I think you knew that from a young age I had an independent spirit with big dreams, you still prayed. As I got older and went to college in New York City, you prayed a little harder. As my younger sister settled down and got married, you prayed just a little harder. And as the Christmases went past that I arrived home alone from New York, you prayed even harder. As I'm sure many of you have also experienced being from a small town, in city years, I was a young 20-something-year-old living it up and weighing out my options with little to no responsibility. But in country years, I was an old maid a few years away from giving up and getting a family of cats. Well, Grandma, Jesus heard your prayers. And boy, did he deliver. I have no question that Mitch is the man that you prayed for all those years, and I think he was well worth the wait. I want to thank you both from the bottom of my heart. You have shown me what love is, what hard work looks like, and how to show your family you truly care about him. There are no words to thank you enough for a lifetime of love, support, and guidance. Thank you. To my mother, Melissa. We've been lucky enough to spend so much time together the past couple years with Mitch and I's frequent trips to the beautiful town I call home. It's funny. When you're growing up, you can't wait to leave the small town behind and spread your wings, and then you get older and you miss all those things you couldn't wait to leave behind. It has been so nice that you've been able to spend time with Mitch and build a relationship. Thank you for being here, and we love you. Grandma Jackie and Grandpa Gary. So we are so glad you're here. My Grandma Jackie over there is a two-step-in, spontaneous goof with a love of cooking and a taste for wine. Sound familiar? Also, make sure to keep a lookout on the dance floor for the two of them. My father, Kelly, and my stepmother, Heidi, thank you for being here and witnessing this special day. We are so happy to have you here today and are especially thankful to have had my two younger brothers, which Jagger did the amazing speech that he wrote, and my younger sister, Peyton, who is the flower girl, be part of our day. And my two sisters, Lexi and Avery. My younger sister, Avery, is very missed today as she is at home preparing for her firstborn of our family's second nephew, Carter, Lexi. I am so lucky to have a sister I get along so well with, although it hasn't always been that way. My beautiful sister over there might look like a sweet little thing, but I'll have you know she gave me my very first shiner at the tender age of 5. You've always been a little spitfire, and although my younger sister, always my protector. It has been so great seeing you grow up into the beautiful woman and amazing mother to my nephew, Remy. Thank you for answering my wedding text at all hours of the day and helping me choose each outfit change for this week. You and Bryce are such wonderful parents, and I never grow tired of witnessing the latest stitch-up Bryce has convinced poor gullible Mitch of. We love you very much, and thank you for being here. And now to my two beautiful friends, Nadine and Jessie. Jessie. When I had to think about someone who I love dearly and who would also entertain a room full of strangers, there was simply no better woman for the job. Jess, your energy is magnetic. My favorite thing about you is your uncanny ability to make a complete fool of yourself for the enjoyment of others, all while looking like this beautiful blonde bombshell. This seems like a good part to remind everyone that Miss Jessie Bartlett is single. Jess, aside from being the best catch of our wedding, you're also one of the best friends. You're one of the most giving, supportive, and loving people I know, and boy, do we have fun when we get together. Thank you for always making me laugh, always showing me a good time, and always being such a good friend. I love you dearly. Nadine, I can't think of a better person to speak in my honor. Our relationship has always been better described as family than friends because we are so much more than best friends. The connection we share is really something so special and rare that I feel so lucky to have met you. I also knew that with your wedding coming up next, you couldn't say anything too embarrassing about me, as I surely have enough dirt to get you back in September. But in all seriousness, Nadine, you are the greatest best friend a girl could ask for, and I don't know where I would be today without your love and support for all these years. It is also extra special that you've been with me and Mitch from the very beginning and seen our relationship grow. Mitch and I both love you very much and think you're a very, very special lady. And last, but certainly not least, is this tall drink of water over here that is now my husband. Mitch, you look so incredibly handsome tonight. You know, you always joke that I'm trying to turn you into a cowboy, but for a man that eats jerky for breakfast, is sporting a mustache at his own wedding, thinks skim milk is for sissies, and dreams of living on the family farm, you're about one skull can ring on your denim pocket away from being a bona fide wrangler. When you are a couple from two different countries, there are certain things you have to compromise on. Some things I accepted with no problem. Vegemite, espresso martinis, love of the song Horses, and that famous Australian banter. Other things are taking me a little longer to come around, like that Speedos or budgie smugglers are an acceptable form of clothing, even in front of family. Or that my name is no longer Ashley and is now simply Ash. Or that a good cup of coffee can only be found in Australia, according to any Australia talking to an American. Mitch, there are so many qualities that myself and so many others in this room love about you. You're kind, devilishly handsome, incredibly smart, a bit awkward at times, and one of the hardest workers I know. You're sensitive, you're caring, and not a day goes by that I doubt your love for me. I really feel like the luckiest girl in the world to be able to stand up here and say that I'm your wife. A few months into our relationship, we realized we both did not have plans for the Thanksgiving holiday and decided to get away from the city and spend it out in the woods together. Thanksgiving is one of my very favorite holidays. My family does the usual big cook-up, drinks wine, plays games, and my hometown does a beautiful Christmas fireworks show on the lake. So needless to say, I was feeling a bit homesick and sad that I was missing out. But it was on this Thanksgiving holiday for two, somewhere in between peeling potatoes, eating pumpkin pie, and teaching you a duet on the piano, that I realized I was falling in love with you. When I couldn't picture anywhere that I would rather be, and when suddenly home wasn't a place, it was you. If there was a saying that would be my motto in life, it would be, "It'll all work out." This life motto drives Mitch absolutely crazy. Because living life with a laissez-faire style leaves little to no room for scheduling, planning, spreadsheets, and productivity. What Mitch always says about my motto, which in return drives me crazy, is that it all works out because as I'm off as carefree as a bumblebee, Mitch is in the background making it all work out. This always drives me nuts, and it usually ends with me telling Mitch he needs to chill out a bit and go with the flow. But as I'm writing this speech, I thought about it. And honestly, as much as it pains me to say, and it finally concede to this ongoing argument, you're right, Mitch. Everything in my life does work out because of you. Because you are there, loving me, supporting me, guiding me, and sometimes pushing me to be the very best me I can be. You have a way of making me want to be the best version of myself. And from the beginning, it is as if we did not fall in love, but we rose in love together. Because of you, I am becoming the me I have always dreamed of being. You are the chapter I never knew how to start, and our life is the story I have always wanted to tell. You know, when you're little, you think that your parents are soulmates, and I can tell you that our kids are going to be right about that. Mitch, I swear I don't think I could love you more than I do standing up here today, but I know that I will tomorrow. So please, if everyone could join me, let's raise a glass to my handsome fella, my husband, Mitch Kidd. And last, Mitch and I just really want to thank everyone again from the bottom of our hearts for being here. It really means so much to us. So if you could raise a glass one more time. Here's to the ma's and pa's, the grandmas and the grandpas, the in-laws, and all you good-looking outlaws.
I would like to take a minute to introduce the man of the hour, Mitchell Scott Garood Kidd. Mitch is equivalent to being my other wife. We speak multiple times daily. We fight. We make up. We argue. We get over it. We celebrate, but we always know no matter what happens, we always have each other's back, and it will always work out. You've grown to become a fine gentleman with great character and a huge heart and sound morals. All of these characteristics are attributable to Reg and Kerry and Ben and Gav, and more recently, Ash. This character, this huge heart, this moral compass put you in a great position to be a great husband, not only today, but into the future. And one day, become a father to some little kidlets in the future. Without further ado, ladies and gents, the groom of the night, Mr. Mitchell Kidd.
Wow, a lot of dust in the air today, getting in my eyes. Well, thanks, Scotty. Thanks for the intro, mate. That was a sensational speech. Look, first of all, my wife, and I've got to say, it feels so good to say that, finally. My wife and I would like to thank all of you for being here today to celebrate this very special moment with us. It's not lost on us, the effort that you all put in to get here. We know it wasn't easy, travelling all that way. And we didn't make it easy for you either, with the black tie. Threw a few people into disarray, I know, especially my new brother-in-law, Bryce, wearing a Budweiser shirt at the moment. But look, for those of you that don't know, I'm very colourblind. And going with the black tux was the only way that we could guarantee I wouldn't turn up here in a multicoloured outfit. But look, I must say, it was totally worth it because you all look stunning tonight. So get plenty of photos before you get drunk and split your suit on the dance floor. Look, they say it's not the destination, but the journey. And that's what Ashley and I wanted to set up for all of you this week. Your own National Lampoon's vacation. I know my family certainly had one of those. Have you got your bag back yet, Dad? I'm not sure. We have international guests travelling all the way from Singapore and, of course, Australia. And we have local guests travelling from over 11 states, I believe. Might be 12. Now, I'd like to acknowledge family and friends who are not here to celebrate with us in person today. My two sister-in-laws, Avery and Candace, who are both expecting any day now. My bush pop and late town pop. And the two matriarchs of our family, Bush Nana and Town Nana. So please charge your glasses for my first toast. For friends and family that are absent. Cheers. Now, my biggest thank you today goes to my wife, Ashley. You've done such an amazing job organising every detail of this wedding. From the custom designs, the gift bags, the neon signs, the place cards, the menus, the dessert, and even the booze. You've covered it all. This wedding has your special touch all over it. I have to thank also each individual who helped out over the past few months. We could not have put this destination wedding together without you, especially from New York. If this was left to me, we'd be sitting on milk crates eating hot dogs tonight. And meat pies. Thank you to our efficient Reverend Reg, as you'll be called now at the Parkview, I'm sure. We can't wait to see you in your cloak, walking around blessing people in orange. I'm sure we're never going to hear the end of this. But look, today your delivery was flawless, as expected. I was surprised to see you so nervous, being that you do hate a speech. But yep, you definitely have found your new calling after politics. Brian, thank you for those wonderful words, mate. We do miss our lunch dates now that you're down in Florida. I remember when we were at lunch for the last time, you were taking photos of Ashley's finger, doing a bit of a stealth mission so we could pick an engagement ring. And that was 2 years before I even proposed to her. So you did call it very early on, buddy. Thanks to our MC, Scotty Lumbie, otherwise known as my business wife. There you go, mate. Thanks, bud. Scott, we've been in the trenches for over 16 years now as close mates and business partners. And I appreciate the effort you and Kat put into looking after me for the last 2 weeks while I was home alone. Ashley out here left me home fending for myself. I'm sure she was worried I wouldn't eat. I'd be up all night just watching TV at the local pub. So I really appreciate it, and I'm sure Ashley does too. Lumbie, of course you are responsible for me meeting my wife, even if you did tell me to keep my hands off her. I didn't listen. But look, you've seen us grow as a couple, and there was simply no better man for the job as MC. Thanks a lot for your efforts tonight, and happy anniversary. I'm glad that we get to share an anniversary as well now. Dave and Dane, my speech givers. Thanks for the roasting, guys. I honestly thought it would be a lot worse. Dane, we know you'll probably have a wedding coming up soon, Brett. So you probably did take it pretty easy on me. Yep, it's true. The first time we met each other was at that Y2K New Year's Eve party in Sydney. I walked in, saw these two guys standing in the middle of the backyard, one arm tied behind their back. There was only two gloves in the house, so it was a one-arm boxing match. I don't remember who won, but I do remember thinking to myself that me and this loose unit are going to be really good mates. And we certainly are. And we've had some adventures from India. I just need to clear a few things up. Mum and Dad, I think Dane was talking about the curries that made us see those elephants. A bit hot and spicy. Yep, and Dane, yes, we did have a business back in university, K&M, property maintenance, mowing lawns, and we didn't do too many. But yes, it taught me a lot about business, how not to run one. But look, mate, you're a good mate, and I can't wait to continue our relationship into the years to come, and I'm still waiting for that Gus money you owe me for taking you to footy training. I'll be rattling the tin after this. Swaney, where are you, mate? Change. Mate, it is good, mate, despite the change into that shirt, it is good to see out of your customary attire of black footy shorts, black singlet and work boots. I think you've even got gel in your hair. It's pretty good for you, Swaney, right? That's pretty good. Look, I know you'll never let it go that I missed your wedding. You do remind me 10 times a year. And look, I honestly do regret that, and I deserve the hard time that you give me about it all the time. It must be karma, because without fail, whenever we get together, I ended up injured or in emergency. So it definitely is karma. But hopefully that changes soon. Swaney, on a serious note, mate, and you did touch on it, Ash and I do feel very fortunate for the friendship that we have with you and your wife, Kath, and your kids now, Ashley's little mini-me. And we appreciate the effort that you put in all the time. Whenever we're back, you drop everything you're doing, you invite us over, you have us stay. You're here for this week, and you'll be back in New York, and we'll spend some time together. It really puts it into perspective what mates are. Thank you. To my new in-laws, thank you for accepting me into your family, making me feel at home and not dobbing me into immigration when I started dating Ashley. I've always been the youngest in my family, so all of a sudden I'm the oldest on Ashley's side, and it's really good to suddenly be the older sibling and the know-it-all. Never had that. Ashley was raised by 6 wonderful parents in her mum and dad and 2 sets of grandparents, all sharing in her upbringing. I thank all of you for shaping my wife into the incredible woman that she is today. Randy, the man with the voice of an angel, as I'm sure you'll all agree. Also the man who's incredibly accurate with a pistol at 30 yards. As I found out the first time I attempted to ask for Ashley's hand in marriage. Not the smartest timing on my behalf, but fortunately I found a better time the next day and you gave me your blessing. I thank you for that. You and Ashley obviously have a special bond, and it was only fitting you were part of our ceremony. Thank you for building one beast of a wedding truck as well. The bullhorns and the flags. Can't wait for the cops to chase me back to the house tonight. Special mention to your wife, Cheryl. You put in a lot of work over the last 2 weeks as well, staying up, cooking the cookies for the dessert that everyone will be having, painting the shirts that Ashley made for her friends. I know you're really looking forward to a well-earned rest. So now, everyone, for my second toast, I'd just like you to raise your glasses to my new in-laws. Cheers. The Kidd family. Now, I couldn't talk about my family without talking about my de facto parents, who turn up to every major Kidd family life event. And that's the guys over here at this table. The Balls, the Modes, the Bones, Helen Priest, who else have I forgotten there? That's it, and the Whalens. Really appreciate you being here on my side of the table today. To my brothers, Ben and Gavin, growing up in the Kidd clan was no walk in the park, more like a walk in the bush that's on fire. Where your brothers would tie you up to trees and feed you sheep poo. Or glad wrap you into a human cocoon for mum to find you an hour later. And lasso you with the stock whip and hang you upside down from gum trees. But despite the borderline child abuse, I've always admired and looked up to my 2 older brothers, and I still do. I couldn't ask for better siblings to grow up with. To mum and dad. Yes, I'm undeniably a mummy's boy. And it's hard for me not to get emotional when I talk about my mum. Dad, I suppose I get this trait from you, as you always tear up and get emotional when you talk about your wife in public as well. We're just big bloody sooks. Today, I feel very honoured to be wearing rings from both of your dads tonight. I know Ronnie and Bob are here with us in spirit. You taught me to work hard, guys, strive for the things that I want and follow my passions. You taught me that when I make a commitment to something, you stick with it, no matter what. I heard you echo that, Dad, last time I was back in Orange. And no matter what, you guys have always supported me in every facet of my life, be it in sport, education, my business adventures, turning the farm into a theme park, living abroad, and of course, the support that you give Ashley and I. Having you both as my parents is a privilege that's never lost to me. I've lived my life by your example. I stand here married to an incredible woman because of that example. I promise to keep striving every day to make you proud. I can't wait to build a family of my own upon the solid foundation that you've provided me. Now to a toast. To my family, the Kidd clan. And the finale, my wife, Ashley. I'm looking forward to saying that the rest of my life. Oh my God, it feels so good to finally be in this day, husband and wife. You look absolutely breathtaking today, my little Dolly Parton. Look at her. I didn't think I could be more in love with you today. When I saw you at that first look, and I saw you walk down that aisle today, it went to a whole new level, sweetie. And who would have thought we'd be here right now, husband and wife, after meeting in Portchester that day for lunch when Scotty set it up, and especially after I ate your lunch by accident, and you just sat there and went hungry because you were too polite to say anything. And that's just you, Ashley, always thinking of others before yourself. Something I admired early on in our relationship is that you made me open up. For the Kidd man, it's no easy task. It doesn't come naturally for sure. It's taken some work. It's helped me build better relationships with my friends and family and continues to make our relationship stronger every day. You're also quick to remind me that we're a team, we support each other, and when we work together, we're a lot stronger. You've also taken my Instagram game to a whole new level. I by far get a spike in likes when you're in the picture. Leads me to believe that my friends probably like you in life a lot more than me as well. Now look, I've accepted that I'll have to share you with the other man in your life, Garth Brooks. For those that don't know, Ashley's a Garth Brooks fan, a super fan. It's actually creepy. Before I met Ashley, I'd never been to a Garth Brooks concert. In the first 7 months, I'd been to 4, and 2 were on consecutive nights. And if that isn't enough, try sleeping with Garth Brooks every night because your girlfriend wears a giant Garth Brooks shirt to bed. Nothing against Garth Brooks, but waking up with his blown up face staring you down in the morning is a little intimidating. Look, we both moved to New York around the same time, around 8 years ago. And although we still live there, the country is where our heart is, if you can't tell today. And I think that's why we fell in love so quickly, that we share the same country values. We're our happiest when we're back in Orange and Coeur d'Alene. And one day we'll raise our own little Mason Ramseys on the Roma Ranch. And if no one knows who that is, it's probably the next Garth Brooks. Little country singer. Our lifestyle calls for a lot of travel, and I'm thankful that I found someone that loves travel just as much as I do. I do get frustrated about your packing method, known as organised chaos, but you're still the best travel companion that I could ask for. You're an old-fashioned romantic at heart who believes in never going to bed angry with each other, and you constantly hide love notes in my clothes so I randomly find them through the day. No matter what kind of mood I'm in, and I find those notes, just brightens up my day. You're this humble, fun, spunky fashionista that doesn't let the small things stress you out. Hence her motto, it'll all work out. And it usually does. And I've always said that it's because I'm there to make it work out. But that's very untrue. Like, after tonight and seeing what you've been able to put together from the other side of the country, it just amazes me. And Ash, you're very talented. And I'm so proud of you starting your own business. It's already started to take off. And that's no surprise to me because I've seen how focused and driven you are for everything you put your heart into. I do have one gripe though. Blankie. The 30-year-old terry toweling blanket that looks like Randy ran over it on the lawnmower and left it outside for 10 years. Despite the unsanitary look of this thing, it never leaves her side. Even when travelling to Australia, I'm surprised it makes it through Australian customs. And I'm just happy it didn't make an appearance at the wedding tonight as a veil or who knows what. But look, I'm not without my own faults. You put up with my dad jokes. My open door bathroom policy could do with some refinement. And I wear those pants of mine with a really baggy bum. You call them my poopy pants. I'm also hopeless at remembering your friends' names, to the point where I just make up my own. Trait that I definitely get from Dad. Ashley, on a very serious note, when I proposed to you at Roma that day, I made a commitment to love and to honour you the rest of my life. And I promise you this, I'll never stop trying to be the best husband to you, the best father to our kids, and the best role model to our family. Ashley, kid, today you've made me the happiest that I've ever been. I can't wait to begin the next chapter in our life together. I love you, sweetie. And a toast. And now a toast to my new wife, my sweetie, Ashley, kid.